New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
We have all heard, ask and you shall receive. Our guest says, ask for what you want and get it. How do you do that? You'll find out today on Job Chat. I'm Hector Silva. I'm your host along with Sarah Kane. And our guest today is MK Mueller. Welcome, MK.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
MK Mueller, often referred to as the gratitude guru, is a motivational speaker, international trainer, life coach, and author. Her passion to teach her 8 to Great process, a life-changing positive attitude formula, has taken her to the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies, prisons, homeless shelters, universities, high schools, and healthcare professionals. She trains over 100,000 people each year in the concepts from her first book, Taking Care of Me, The Habits of Happiness, as well as those of her award-winning new book, 8 to Great, The Powerful Process for Positive Change. Welcome, MK.
Thank you, sir. Great to be here.
Welcome, MK. How do you use your power to ask for what you want and to get it?
It's such a great thing that we can ask and receive, isn't it? It's ancient wisdom. It's in all the spiritualities. And yet, it's amazing. Gandhi even said, if we don't ask, we don't get. And people don't ask. When I say to my audiences, do we dream too small or too big? Oh, too small. And everybody's in agreement. So asking is core, I believe, to the happiness, health, and success that this program is about. The first place that I would coach somebody, whether it was a team at work or an individual, is to start asking internally. And once you start saying, well, wouldn't it be fun if we actually have a workbook called Becoming a Magnificent Manifester, one of the newer books that I've written, where we have people write down 20 things that they want each week. In other words, if you could ask for anything, it's really to strengthen their asking muscle and get out of this putting up with. I've dreamt of becoming a national speaker. Well, I think I'll just tell a little bit of that story. Zig Ziglar, I'm sure you've heard of that wonderful man, came to Omaha. There were 12,000 of us in the audience, and he said, write down one of your dreams. And so I started writing down some dreams, and I said, by the time Zach is in school, which he would turn 5, then I'd like to be a motivational speaker. He was 2 at the time. 3 months later, John Roseman, an international columnist, had hired me to speak in Hawaii, which was close enough to international trainer for me, for more money than I could have ever dreamt of. And I truly believe it's because I did what Zig had suggested. I not only wrote that down, but I really got to a belief state. We say the CBA formula really helps. C, conceive it. B, believe it. A, achieve it. So I not only conceived of it, I believed it, and again, it showed up. Now, did I take some risks along the way? Did I walk up to Dr. Roseman when he came to visit and say, Dr. Roseman, yes, my name's MK Mueller. Yes, good to meet you. I'd like to do what you do someday. And he said, I'm going to hire 3 people in the next 3 weeks. Your timing's amazing. Let's go out after my talk tonight and talk.
Wow.
So it's not as simple as just asking for it and sitting back and waiting for it to come.
Oh, absolutely not. But the first one is getting clear about it, whether it's writing it in a journal, whether it's making a dream board of the pictures of what it is you want. And again, little things, big things. When we have people write down their 20 things each week, we say, make some we. I want to find something I've lost. I want to find surprise money. Just little tiny things. Make some of them wild. Ooh, I want to run into 3 people named Agnes. Just really goofy things. Just ask. Why not? And then make some of them wonderful. And so I wrote down a few weeks ago that I wanted something wonderful to happen in nature. I like hiking. I just like being outside. And the ducks who hang out in my backyard right here in the Kansas City area just had babies, both of them. We are talking 20 little tiny on my patio this morning. I mean, talk about a gift, right? So I don't just want to ask for financial abundance. Of course, that's on my list. But asking for all sorts of things. And then what happens, let me refer over to my little power pyramid. When we're only feeling only 5% of our thoughts feel good, we're low energy. But when 95% of our thoughts feel good, we're up here at the top of the power pyramid, and we're high energy and high everything, right? When you feel good, you have more what? Fun, friends, right? Mm-hmm. Compassion, hope, joy, energy, life, laughter. So we help people get up to 95, where what goes around comes around really quickly. And so the more I'm up here, and I start asking for things, the faster things come. So here I was wanting to speak. I remember one day writing down I wanted to speak abroad. And a call came in the next day for me to speak to a little JC's group, but they, had very little money. And I said, take that money and buy some books of mine and then donate that to members of the JC. And I'll come do this for your group. And they said, that is so nice. So I gave the little talk. When I was finished, actually, it was on March 17th, and the talk was How to Get Lucky. Young people liked that title, so I had a full room. At any rate, so here I am giving my talk on how to ask for what you want and get it, how to be lucky and have all these good things happen. And a gentleman walks up to me afterwards, beautiful accent. I think it was Italian, says, "Can you talk slowly enough to be interpreted?" And I said, "Yes, I can." And the following week I was asked to speak in Barcelona and was translated into 7 languages the following year when I gave that talk. Mm-hmm. So again, writing it down, dreaming it, believing it. Again, we talk a lot about this in my 8 to Great book, how to go from just thinking the thoughts to believing the dream. And it's when you go from here to here that the real magic happens, and people keep telling me just how lucky I am.
What do you say to those dream snatchers that say, be careful what you ask for?
In a sense, it's true. Be careful what you ask for, meaning be ready for it. Yes? I had a young woman who, they were newly married, and she said, "Oh, yes, I'm dreaming of," and she got pregnant really quickly in that marriage. And she said, I'm going to tell young couples to maybe not put that baby on the dream board until they're really ready. But, of course, she adores her daughter here. But in a sense, we say that. But there are dream snatchers that say lots of things like, "Yeah, right. In this economy, huh?" And you know what I do? I feel lots of compassion for them, because those people are people, and sometimes they're in our schools, We go in and we tell kids to dream bigger, and the librarian says, "Oh, there goes the fairy land lady who's, in the clouds." And so I say that's always a person who had a dream when they were young and gave up on it. And the reason they gave up on it was because no one was giving them the process to follow to get there. And what I'm so grateful for is now with 8 to Great, we have 1,100 trainers in high schools and colleges around the country who are helping students find the process, just like we have people in businesses doing the same thing. So, I might really turn to that person and say, "So what was your dream when you were young?" rather than arguing with them. Tears often result, just so you know.
Is it enough to just ask for what you want, or is gratitude a part of the formula as well?
Oh, yes, and you've probably heard a lot about gratitude these days, Sarah. It's a hot buzzword, isn't it? And rightfully so. Let's talk a little bit over here. There are 4 qualities that mean you are the highest high. You are as happy as you could possibly be. And they are joy, happiness, love, enthusiasm. I'm grateful because I have a lot of that. And that's the highest high. And gratitude is the highest high. So when you're about to ask somebody for what you want, we always say, get grateful first. Because what you'll do then is you'll say, I'm grateful that I'm going to ask, them to Dad to borrow the car. I'm grateful that I'm going to ask that I have the courage to ask my boss for more responsibility or more pay or whatever it is, more time off. I'm grateful that. What do you think is the main reason people quit jobs, Sarah? in the whole country, the main reason people quit their job is lack of?
They don't feel that they're accomplishing anything, or that they're being noticed at all.
There you go. Appreciated. That's it. Lack of appreciation and recognition. In other words, when you get grateful, okay, so here before I walk in to propose this new thing to the boss, I'm extremely grateful. Well, what is the first thing I'm going to say to him or her? Sarah, I am so grateful for this job. I want you to know, yeah, it's great to work here. I love the people. I love, right? Okay. Now, what did I just help Sarah to, right? I helped my manager, Sarah, up to a higher place. And from the higher place in the power pyramid, we can make higher decisions, higher consciousness. You hear that word, whatever that means, but it really is a higher level of life. And gratitude is the fastest elevator to that higher place. So just as in work, we want to be appreciated. I say, don't sit around waiting for people to appreciate you. You appreciate you. Before you walk into that job interview or into that meeting with your manager, write down, I am grateful that I am so good at, and just really get that list growing so that you can, by the time you walk in, you're ready to go. I have a wonderful young story about a young man who was at an alternative school in Omaha when I lived there. And he said, ma'am, can you help me? I have to get a job, because if I don't have a job in the afternoon, I can't go to this alternative school in the morning. Can you help me? And I said, I'd love to. He said, because I've tried like 4 or 5 times. And I said, all right, here's your first rule, dear one. You may only apply for jobs that you really want. Okay? Don't apply for jobs that somebody says, oh, yeah, they're hiring. And you have to really want it, because that's not a should now. It's a want, and that's going to bring you up. The second thing is, I don't want you walking in the door to that business until you believe something, that you have won some Employee of the Year award. Ma'am, that's a stretch. I know it is, but I know that you have a great imagination, and I know you can pull that off. So he's pacing back and forth in front of the business, and somebody walked by and he said, good morning, sir. And he said, oh, that's what I'm really good at. I'm really good at customer service. I'm going to win Employee of the Year for customer service. Now, when he walked into that job interview, where was he? If this is 5 and this is 95, where was he?
He was up at 95.
Oh, yeah, he's 95, and he walks in. Well, of course he got the job, but what's the other great part of the story, guys? He got the award at the end of the year, youngest ever to win the Employee of the Year for Customer Service. Isn't that fun? Mm-hmm. And we have thousands of these stories in the 8 to Great book and the Taking Care of Me book, and we love to share them on our website. So, yeah, it can be your story. It can be everybody's story. Yay.
New Landing's Job Chat will be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is William Easley, Managing Director of Wealth Management with Prosperity Advisory Group. While under unemployment stress, there may be a temptation to become more conservative with your investment allocation. Recognizing how short-term problems can adversely influence your thinking about long-term goals can help you avoid costly mistakes. It's reasonable to expect that you may need cash and more liquid assets at your disposal as you assess your financial situation over a job loss. However, you must avoid selling long-term investments as a panic response to uncertainty. You may trigger an unwanted tax or generate an ill-timed loss. Conversely, being unemployed isn't the time to take a flyer on a hot stock tip, ratcheting up your risk level in hopes of a quick profit to make up for lost income. You may do nothing more than compound your cash flow problem. A reasoned and balanced approach is recommended. Start by seeking out a qualified financial planner, such as a CFP professional, who can help you assess your unemployment situation, suggest strategies for conserving wealth, and perhaps help you with ideas on how to best protect assets. It's important to sort out alternatives while structuring a plan around your short-term objectives and your long-term goals. Again, I'm William Easley with Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future.
So as part of gratitude, appreciating yourself then,
Absolutely.
then it's also learning to appreciate it when people compliment you.
Yes, 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 yes. And people who aren't appreciating themselves are going to have a lot of trouble accepting compliments. And some people might say, oh, no, I don't accept compliments. Well, it's no problem. I say, it is a problem. Appreciation is like sunlight to a plant. Now imagine you have this beautiful little plant given to you as a gift. You put it on the windowsill, and then you close the curtains. All right? That's going to happen to the little plant. It is you are responsible for opening those curtains and letting that in. So just like, and this happened recently to me, one of my coworkers said, Mary Kay, I'm not feeling very appreciated this week. And I said, really? Okay. And I went back and pulled up emails I had sent her, because it was a very busy week. You know how those go. Where I had said, thank you, excellent job, great letter, da-da-da. And she goes, wow, I hadn't noticed that. So sometimes we're being appreciated and our own drapes are closed. So if you're not appreciating yourself, so she and I went for a little walk and I made her talk about herself. And I said, why are you a great employee? And she said, yes, and this and this. And I said, okay. And then that really opens the curtains in the best way. And then it helps other people affirm you as well. Great questions.
When you get to the top, when you're up there at that 95, there's some people not going to like that.
There are. There are.
How do you keep them from pulling you down?
That's a great question. When people are fiving, here's what they believe about 95ers. And again, it's not that you're born a 95er. You can choose to be a 95er at any moment. In fact, just a second. I don't want to miss this. I'm going to give you homework every day for the rest of your life. You ready? Okay, ready? It's going to take a whole minute. All right? Every day for the rest of your life, but only do it on the days you want to feel good. Don't do it the other days. All right. Ready? Your homework for the days you want to feel good. 3 things you're grateful for from the past 24 hours, no repeats. Got it? 3 things.
3 things.
And you have to share them with someone. All right? So it's a beautiful sunny day here in, where are we? Lenexa, Kansas? Okay. Mm-hmm. And so here's the deal. If you're grateful for the sunshine tomorrow, you're done with sunshine for life, okay? No repeats. Got that? Okay? Right? Because look at that beautiful color of royal blue. You can be grateful for the color, right? Everybody wiggle your toes. Wiggle, okay? When you were born, was somebody grateful you had 10 of them? Yes, yes. Can you be grateful today? You have to, okay, yes. And the man came up and he said, I only have 9, but I'm very grateful for them. So, you will never run out of things to be grateful for. Isn't that fun? Mm-hmm. All right, so that's your homework, again. Okay. But you have to share them with someone, all right? So now, what happens with this person who's down here? Well, I'm going to tell that person, if you really want this, gratitude will get you there. And I have had people, I had a young 21-year-old who actually was going to go up for trial for selling drugs. Beautiful young man, had gotten depressed about giving up on his dream, turned to drugs and then turned to selling drugs, and his mom sent him to me. So I said, dear one, I'm going to ask you your dream in a few minutes, but first let's warm up by saying 3 things you're grateful for. And he sat for 5 minutes, and I waited for 5 minutes. He said, ma'am, I just can't think of anything. So we walked to the door, and I opened the door, and I said, that tree, 3 things you are grateful for that tree. He said, well, it's shade, and it's pretty, and the birds live in it, I guess. And I said, that's great. I'm not going to coach you today. I'm not going to charge you for today. Go home. And I want you to wake up every day with 3 things you're grateful for. That young man spoke with me because his dream was to be a coach when I was the keynote for the Nebraska Coaches Association a year later. And he stood before 2,500 coaches and said, a year ago she asked me for 3 things I was grateful for, and I couldn't think of 3 things. Today I cannot think of 3 things I am not grateful for. The young man had completely turned his life around. The judge saw it. He did not get anything except a misdemeanor and is today coaching and has been extremely successful following his dream. I'm not sure I answered your question, but that's how I helped that young man. If someone is negative and they don't want to change, the last thing I'm going to do is walk up and tell them they should change, right? Don't should on yourself, don't should on other people. But I do know that when I'm fiving, or when I used to five, I would look at 95s and think they were faking it. I thought nobody could be that happy. One of our trainers, again, we have 1,100 trainers around the country. One of our trainers was told by a coworker, "You're not as happy as you think you are." And Tom said, then I love living in the delusion. Yes, so I think we probably are as happy as we think, right? We choose our thoughts, and when you choose thoughts that feel good, and gratitude is, right? Appreciation. When I say, how many of you would like more appreciation at work? Everybody raises their hand, and I said, and who's responsible for starting that ball rolling? We all are, right? And so whether it's writing a Post-it note, an email, sending a text, or just sharing something you're grateful for, it changes everything.
So an attitude of gratitude acts like a barrier or a shield for you.
It does. It absolutely does. It means that we say what goes around comes around, right? And misery loves company, but so does joy. And so if you want to hang out with 95ers, you want to hang out with grateful people, you be a grateful person. And when you get that ball rolling, all of a sudden, I've seen this happen in marriages. She says, my husband doesn't appreciate me. And I say, excuse me? That didn't sound very appreciative of your husband. And so she goes home and starts appreciating him. And one woman started buying herself flowers because she appreciated herself more. And what did he do? One day he walks in with a dozen roses. And she said, what? Did you do something wrong and you're apologizing? And he said, I just figured out you like flowers. Wasn't that so sweet? So it is contagious, isn't it? Just like negative attitudes are contagious. When someone tries to pull me down, I simply change the subject. I release them. I walk out of the room. It'd be like someone was fuming with a cigarette and I was an asthmatic, right? What would I do? I'd protect myself from that. I don't have to stop them from smoking, but I can stop the fuming in my life and I can go to someplace else. So rather than trying to change the world, I always say, if you're waiting for the world to get happy so you can be happy, you're going to wait a while. You'll probably go to your grave miserable. So just choose to be happy. And I truly believe, I'm the oldest of 5 children, that my happiness and my finding the gratitude attitude has absolutely blessed every member of my family, including my parents, who were fairly dysfunctional. And they separated for a while. I coached them a little. They got some coaching from other people, got back together kissy-huggy at 69 and 70. It was really quite weird. But again, they wrote me a thank you note that said, thank you for letting us watch you get happier and know that happiness was possible. And thank you for the coaching that you did for us and the encouragement that you gave to us that happiness is possible no matter who we are, where we are, how much money we have, what age we are. It's there waiting for us.
No matter how much you coach someone, it still comes down to them.
It does. It does. And as a coach, you're very different from a counselor, you know. I always say that no coach ever walks into the gym and says, okay, does anybody's knee hurt? How about your neck? Elbow? Yeah, nothing hurts? That's a counselor that does that asks what's wrong, right? A coach, when people walk in, I don't ask them what's wrong. I say, okay, what's your dream? Well, first of all, we start with gratitudes, and I say, what's your dream? And they go, well, and I help them to get to that, and then I say, okay, now let's move to the second step of the 8-step process of 8 to great. If you had no fear, what would you do? Okay, what would be your next step? Well, I'd call that guy and ask him to be on my board. Well, that's great. Okay. So you're going to do that today? All right. That's your homework. Okay. See you next week. Yeah. That's what a coach does, right? Now, sometimes, of course, the person doesn't come back for their second appointment. They don't make the call, but at least they're not blaming society or the economy, right? Blaming and complaining is the fastest way to get down to 5 and give away your power. Instead, we move up to AD instead of BC, blaming and complaining, AD, acting and dreaming. Get up here. What's the action you can take? What's the dream you can grow? It's exciting to watch. Absolutely. Personal responsibility, Hector. Exactly what you said.
Once again, thank you for being with us.
My distinct
And I am so glad we asked you to be here.
And I'm so glad I took a risk and said yes.
If someone wanted to contact you for some more information, where could you be reached?
Oh, we'd love. Of course, you can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. But the easiest way is our website, and that's 8togreat.com. That's the number 8, TOGREAT.com. 8 to Great is a process for both businesses, communities, schools. We teach it in middle and high school and colleges. And we have some personal coaching that we offer as well. So we'd love to hear from anybody if they want a speaker, if they want personal coaching, if they want to get trained. That's the most exciting thing. Be one of our 1,100 trainers around the country who are trained to teach these 8 to Great steps to other people. We really want to share them with the world. So thank you for helping us do that today.
Thank you.
Thank you, MK. You can hear more advice and information from MK and a number of other guests by listening to our past chats online. Just go to www.newlandingsjobchat.org or just search Job Chat on YouTube.
Until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.